Happy New Year, blessed souls. But before we get there, in real time, it is December 31st, 2021. This is my last reading of 2021. I actually didn't think I was going to do another one until tomorrow. I had planned on doing this, New Year's reading, this really fun, optimistic reading, which I am going to do, so stay tuned for that. But what I got today, I woke up in such a good mood, but it just seemed like no matter what I did, it was just, there were somber sallies, and I just was like, oh my gosh, until I just finally was like, you know what, I'm just going to give in to the energy. Talk to me, spirit, what's going on? So they said they wanted me to do one last reading in 2021 energy, and the title is What Wasn't Fun in 2021? And what do we need to leave behind? What do we need to leave behind there? Ooh, when I looked down, it was 101, which is also the number 11, if that means anything to anyone. So I started to understand what they were trying to talk to us about. So this is a pick a card because I'm not going to pull any more cards. I'm just going to read from the book and just channel whatever comes through. So if you are called to more than one image, word, whatever, go to one, go to all, whatever is your medicine. 2021 was a tough year. If you are part of this tribe, if you found your way here today, you are part of this tribe. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for being here. And also, I am going to do like a New Year's kind of thing, but I change as the wind blows because I am a perfect channel for spirit. And I never really used the word perfect, but that literally just came out of my mouth from them. But meaning like I go as I flow. I cannot go in the 3D energy anymore. And so I misunderstood what they were saying about my Patreon channel. So long story short, my Patreon channel is gone. We'll talk about, I'm going to talk about that more. I'm going to do one last little real talk for this channel, but this will now be the magical medium. Lula's Labyrinth has now left the building, or will be leaving the building in the next 24 hours. And so don't worry, you're not lost. It's still me. It's still Lula. I'm still here. But I'm ready to move on. And Spirit really wants me to focus on pick a card and pick a power readings on this channel. And I don't know what's going on with my music channel, but they told me to leave it alone right now, so I'm just leaving it alone. But it's going to be it's basically going to be a work in progress. It's kind of like my little side channel. And also, I am going to be focusing on my writing. And I had a feeling this winter I was going to be tying up some loose ends. And so there's a few things and a few other projects that are coming towards me that I really need to focus on. So moving forward, as far as I know, I'm not going to be doing one-on-one readings anymore. I will just be focusing on pick a card and pick a pile readings. So if you find that one of these readings or multiple readings, speak to you, feel free to donate to keep this channel going, to keep my lights on. I would love it. Thank you so much. The exchange of energy is really important. We're going to talk more about that too, about the exchange of energy. And there's different forms of exchange of energy. And if money is not something that you can, because it's just become something that it should not be. It's really just exchange of energy. And it's not always monies, but at the same time, some of us have more monies, cash, coin, whatever you want to call it, than others. And we are changing. You can see how the world is changing. Look at that. Look at how the sun, I kept trying to adjust this and they told me not to, but look at how the sun is going on number 3 focus. Wow. That's for me, but that's for all of us. It's also number 33 there, which is the number 6. And we are going into 2022. In some places in the world, it already is next year. So happy New Year to you. But yeah, these piles were here to show us that 2021 was a number 5. Fives are all about chaos, transformation, change, metamorphosis, just a lot of things it could stand for. It's also being in the middle. Sometimes you feel like you're stuck, right? Like your feet are cemented no matter what you do, no matter which way you go, it's just not the right thing. And so when I pulled these, I actually had them on the other side, which is, I love this side. I had them all looking like this, right? And like, it looks so badass with this vintage fabric behind it. I was like, I love it. But they were just like, nope. They wanted you to really connect with these, you know, energies, because the medicine is here for all of us. So card number 1 is the hawk, number 11. Card number 2 is trust, number 47. Holy shit, which is also 11. What? Card number 3 is focus, number 33, which is 6. And card number 4 is restriction, number 35, which is also the number 8. But if you look above restriction, it actually has the Roman numerals for 5. So that's interesting. So if you're drawn to that as well. So there is so much that we are going to talk about in these piles, I'm sure. And I'm ever changing, ever evolving. But right now, my focus is going to be here and finishing up some writing projects for in 2022. And I believe winter for me is going to be just pumping out, you know, pick a card and pick a pile. I don't know what else is going to come, because as I've said before, I mean, look, last week I was like, oh cool, I'm going to move everything to my Patreon channel and blah, 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 blah. And they're still having me record things that aren't this. So I don't know what project they're really working on. I'm not sure what it's tied to. I'm just as excited as you are, because, you know, being a channel and being a medium, I have this divine pleasure and awesome, you know, gift and experience to be able to, you know, share and channel energies from all over the universe. You know, I am an angel. I know that for sure. I don't know what other, you know, lifetimes or whatever. I mean, I could tell you certain things about my lifetimes, you know. In this lifetime, I'm a triple Sag and my moon's in Scorpio, you know, so there are so many things about me that I don't even, it's like I'm really beginning to peel back the layers of the onion. And it's interesting how so many light workers are putting things out for 2022 about shadow. And I'm like, well, that makes sense, because I feel like for me personally, 2021 like was all about shadow, man. Like it was like all fucking shadow work, like almost all of it. I mean, I had a lot of wonderful moments too, do not get me wrong. Look at how it's going to the restriction. Oh, it's interesting. You know, but all of these things apply to me too. Like I'm excited to go through all of this with you guys, because I feel like, you know, the hawk is about omens and messages. And this 2021, I feel like we were all given so many different omens and messages. You know it, you saw it, right? You may have ignored it, but you saw it. So, you know what I'm saying? And trust was interesting, because I feel like a lot of us, you know, trust was something that went both ways. And we're going to talk further about that. And focus. Some of us had laser sharp focus, and some of us had no focus at all. Some of us were in between, right? And then the last one is restriction. And a lot of us felt restriction, right? In all different forms. And I like how the light is covering the word, because maybe it is just the imagery that's drawing you there. Maybe it's not the word. Don't you also think that it's amazing that of all the cards in this deck, we have one spirit animal and then we have 3 trails? Like 3 trails. I mean, think about that for a second. 3, like, I'm going to see if I can get this lighter for a second so you can, let me see if I can get up there. Do you see that? And how one is like a rocky path. One is like a smooth path with like nice, you know, it's like, oh, look at the pretty shrubbery. Oh, I want to, you know, it's like more towards the light. This one looks like it's like, you know, kind of going uphill or whatever. And then the restriction's interesting because it's another path, but that looks like it's going into a cave. So this is going to be a really fucking awesome reading. My throat chakra is getting locked up. It's okay. Cry, get it out. Say your truth, speak your truth. You know, say what you got to say, do what you got to do. But for me right now, I am just really excited to punch into this, because the last reading we did was the first quarter moon, and that energy was all about transition and forgiveness. Right now, we are in the waning crescent of rest and restore. And in a few days from now, in real time, we are going to be at the new moon and new beginnings, which is perfect. I have a feeling they're probably going to have me do the reading for 2022. I can't think of it off the cuff right. Oh, it's oh, Spirit, this is so cute. It's so cute. You're gonna love it. So the theme for our first reading for 2022 is what's in store for you in 2022. So that's going to be really exciting. I don't know what that's going to be, what decks or whatever, but stay tuned for that. It's going to be really awesome. Make sure that you subscribe, and you will get, put your little bell on or whatever works for you. Or you come back to these readings whenever you want them. They're obviously, timeless, because there is no such thing as time. It's man-made. Anyway, we'll get to a lot of that stuff too. And just for some of you that I know you are going to miss, like my real talks, or you're going to miss my classes and things like that, fear not, my friends. I don't like to use fear-based words, but honestly, no fear. I am going to be doing something because the word workshop has been flying around my noggin for several days now. So I will be shutting down my Patreon channel in the next few hours. And I think we're going to be focusing more on workshops and, things like that. Okay. 10 minutes and 49 seconds. Woo woo. So yeah, so I think that as far as it feels like to me right now, it would make perfect sense that I will be doing the reading for 2022 on the new moon. How apropos, right? On the 2nd. All right. Until then, I will see you at your piles. Thank you so much for being here. All of my information is in the description below if you would like to donate or gift anything to this tribe, to these readings, and to this channel. Thank you so much. I love you. I'll see you next time. Blessed be. Oh, bye. Welcome card number 1. Okay, so I was like, oh, I'm going to adjust this. They're like, don't touch it. And I realized it was because it was in the heart. It looked like a shape of a heart for a second. It's just the flame of the candle in front of it. But I just felt a really strong heart chakra from you guys. I'm actually going to read the book first because I am not getting any messages right away. So the medicine must be in the words. So it says, when the hawk appears, expect a message to be delivered to you to aid you in your quest. Perhaps a telephone call from a friend will help you solve a mystery, or a chance meeting with someone may solve a riddle. You may literally see writing on a wall or overhear a conversation between strangers that reveals your own answer unexpectedly. You will know it when it happens. Be open to messages from others and be aware of omens and signs in nature. The world is constantly attempting to communicate with us, but we human beings have forgotten how to listen. So remember who you are, an intrinsic part of the great mystery of life. Listen and learn. This is the gift of the hawk as he soars into your life from Avalon skies. It also started on page 24, which is the number 6. And then I went to number 25, which is the number 7. And together that's number 13. Together that is 4. 4 goes down to 2. 2 goes down to 1. I mean, it really is. I feel like you guys are like that. You see messages or you feel things like that all the time. You are not crazy. The thing that you need to leave behind is you're doubting your intuition. If you chose the hawk, or if you were drawn to the hawk medicine, it's because it is literally flying into your life right now, and they want to talk to you about your intuition. Your homework is to research hawk spirit medicine. You could put spirit animal, whatever you resonate with, but I'm feeling almost like when they say spirit medicine, for me, it feels more like indigenous. So whatever indigenous culture that you feel drawn to, right? We all come from something, and we're all indigenous. You know what I mean? But it's a perfect metaphor for like what's going on right now. For some reason, because it's different for all of you, all of us that are, here right now, we're all getting the medicine together. But what I'm getting from spirit is that no more. You cannot hide who you are anymore. You have to take care of yourself. Like right now, I'm moving my heater because it's so cold here. It's like getting down to like the teens and the 20s. And, or I should say the 20s. Now it's going down to the teens. It's going to be a low of 18 tonight. Ooh, 1414 also is your angel number. Research that as well. If you don't know, ask questions in the comments below and I will help guide you. But it's really, this is about you finding your own medicine. But yeah, I mean, it's like we have to take care of ourselves. Sometimes we have to change. Sometimes we have to, move around, right? We have to adjust to find the right spot that feels good for us. If you are surrounded by naysayers, people who tell you no, They are not your tribe. They are not your family. Interesting. They had me set this up exactly like this, but do you see what's in the background? The restriction, card number 4. So you may even want to go there because it kind of makes sense, right? When I was looking at it, I thought it was so beautiful that the hawk was first, because it wasn't like the hawk was flying towards any path or flying away from the paths, right, of the representation of the cards, but they were at the beginning. And 1-1, it's all about new beginnings. It's time for a brand new change. Leave that shit behind in 2021. All of that pain, all of that suffering. Even if you tried something 2 months ago and it didn't work, try it again. But if it doesn't, then, I mean, for me, I got this download from Spirit the other day. I mean, certain things, like, right? Like, but then, like, you kind of need to get that tough love. And one of my spirit guides was like, there's a reason why you still only have 3 Patreon or patrons. And I was like, they're like, it doesn't mean you're a failure. It doesn't mean people don't want to learn from you. They're like, it's not the vessel for you. But you know what? So many other readers I knew had Patreon channels. So I was like, is that what I'm supposed to do? I'm not really sure. And I pushed it. I kind of wasn't 100% sure. And then I kind of ran with it. But then people were liking it. And I thought, oh, this is really cool. And this is fun. And I was enjoying it. But you know what? I don't regret a thing, because the 4 of us, and sometimes 5 of or 6 of us, because I would send them, I had an energy exchange with other people. So they didn't pay for it. We did an energy exchange, so I sent them the links. And what I realized was it was just about me teaching certain people through that method. And then I realized, I'm like, no, this isn't working for me, right? Because I go with the flow of spirit, and I work better when I am, giving on a mass scale like this, and pick a card and pick a pile. Like, this feels good to me. This is a sweet spot. This is what I've always wanted to do, but I wasn't ready yet. And now Spirit is saying, this is where you are right now. Everything else will fall into place. So I'm sharing my personal experience with you because it's the same for you. You're fearing something. I don't like to use fear-based words, but they're having us use this word. What you're fearing is also fearing you. Meaning, like, because you're bringing fear into every situation, whether it's a confrontation with a family member, a boss, a lover, doesn't matter, child, but you're bringing their angsty 3D energy into your energy, and it's like ping-ponging all around you, and you're just depleted, you're tired, you're giving too much. I have a really strong feeling a lot of you are empaths. You're really sensitive, right? You're old souls. You are like the hawk. You fly above. You see everything from a different perspective. And because you do, it's not that you think you're better than anybody, or that you feel superior that you have these gifts. If anything, it makes you sad, because you're just like, you want to help people, and they're like, yeah, but you know what? You cannot overhelp. When we overhelp people, we are taking away their experiences. Everybody has to fail. Everybody has to fall. Like, when I told my husband, I said, I'm going to shut down my Patreon channel. He was like, oh, really? And I was like, yeah. I'm like, it's been like, what, 9 or 10 months? I'm like, I just feel like it just doesn't feel right. I said, I feel like I'm trying to, and then I saw this movie, and she was singing this song, Square Peg, Round Hole. And I was just like, yes, like, sometimes you realize, like, if it's not working, it's not working. That doesn't make you a failure because it didn't work. You may have started a new business this year, or 2 years ago, 5 years ago. I don't care. That doesn't mean, that you're a failure. It just means that your calling, your purpose is trying to get your attention. The omens, the signs, all of these things that they have been trying to show you, it's like whatever you love, like, right? Like, just like the fear thing, it's like the opposite with love. It's like whatever you are longing for is also longing for you. So don't get trapped up in those energies. Spread your wings wide and fly away. Fly away from the pain, from the suffering. 2021 is exactly what it was supposed to do. It was no fun, but we learned so much. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't trade anything. Every year I look at it and I say, 1913, by the way. So I feel like that's a year for some of you guys. So look into meditation, ask what 1913 means to you. It could be an angel number. It could be a past life experience. It could be when you were a spirit guide, for someone else in 1913. And, even as spirit guides, we don't realize like how much we can channel, and when we come back into human form, how much we remember and take with us. And if you're like me, where I'm a spirit guide when I'm sleeping and I'm a spirit guide when I'm awake, quote unquote awake in this reality of this human earth reality right now, in this massive transition, it can be really debilitating, because you're like, who am I? Where am I? Where do I come from? You feel like an alien, like, but you're like, this part feels good. Like, I was latching on to everything. I was like, oh, Arcturian, that's totally me. Like Lyrian, oh, that's totally me. And then just everything, right? I'm a witch. And I'm all of these things, but they're just labels and terminology for time periods, for dimensional experiences or whatever. And right now we are twisting and tying in the wind and feeling these restrictions, right? I'm going to go over here, feeling these restrictions from the past. But remember when I showed you restrictions, if you see there, the 5, that's a 5, right? It's like 2021 was a restriction year, but it was only there to teach us. It was there to show us that we actually do not have any restrictions. The restrictions are man-made, self-made. Even right now, I wasn't sure if I was going to talk about what's happening on the planet because it's such a taboo subject, but I don't like to use certain words because they started flagging some of my videos in the last year when I spoke about what's happening on the planet. You know what I'm talking about. And now they're talking about there's another like form of it, and now you have to get another, another shot. And I'm just like, it's so interesting. Like, watch the stocks, see how the pharmaceutical companies, people were going more natural, so they were taking a dive. They need to be able to thrive, right? These dark energies, they need to be able to thrive on us and feed on us, like our energy. They need us to be suffering. They need us to be sick. They literally feed on it like food. So if you are somebody who lives in a high vibration and you have empathy for people, that's what we need right now. We need the love and the empathy that you have for people, but not taking things personally and not getting too close to it, right? If someone's suffering, last night, I could not sleep, and Spirit drew me to this reality show called Airline. I've never even heard of it. But before I knew it, for 3 hours, I was sunk into watching this. And I was like, wow, it's like watching human behavior is so fascinating. Watching how these people will like wig the fuck out when they're like, my flight is canceled. And totally like being like, I'm like, dude, that did feel racist. I can see where that person felt like that was racist. I'm a white, blue-eyed, blonde-haired American girl, right? In some circles, in some societies, I'm considered like, the creme de la creme, right? Well, I can tell you right now from personal experience that I've seen stuff like that happen right in front of me. I've seen that I was treated better because of the way I looked, the way I was, my outgoing personality, or, I'm a fucking witch, right? I can charm and manipulate anybody. But I'm just watching the fascination of human beings right now. If you can take a minute and just look at humans for what they are, what we are, right? And all the beauty and flaws, right? Because all I was watching was how all these different personalities were coming together during certain situations, and how some people were freaking the fuck out and some people, took it with stride, and this one situation, I was like, I totally see what he's saying. I'm like, he wasn't doing anything. And this person, he didn't respond well. And because he didn't respond well, he's the one that got booted off the flight. But at the same time, it was a great lesson for him too, because he realized when the police were getting involved that he was like, oh shit, like this is getting real. And and nobody got arrested in any of these situations. And that was the whole point, is that they're like, I was like, my God, feel for anybody who works in customer service, especially the airline industry, with what's happening right now, canceling flights and what they have to deal with, and the headaches and people crying. And I mean, just the energy that's happening right now. They are doing all of this for a reason. Do you think it's interesting that this happened after Christmas? You know what I mean? Like after, everybody kind of made their money for the year. They kind of, because the year before was like such a loss, and it's like now they're going to start shutting shit down again. I mean, or they're like, you won't be able to, you have to get a shot. It's going to be mandatory. It's like, you know what though? I mean, it's getting out of control. They're taking people's freedoms away, and they're not realizing that it's not real. The sad thing is, Spirit, I downloaded from Spirit that there are so many people who are being paid to say that their loved ones died of this or that this blah blah blah. It's just, you guys don't even want to know. The underbelly of it all is so gross, you don't want to know. But I go there every fucking day. That's what I do. That's my job. So I say shit people don't want to hear, and I'm sorry for that. But at the same time, you know, it's like, and if this doesn't align with you, feel free to unsubscribe from my channel. I do not want you to, you know, this is my belief, but at the same time, I am channeling spirit. I've been channeling spirit since the moment my eyes opened on this planet. And now in 50 years, I can tell you that that I'm not always right. Right? I don't always translate the messages from spirit correctly. Of course, I'm human here, so sometimes I won't mean to go this way or that way, but it's like my energy is feeling sad or happy, or right? But in this situation, I have never ever felt more solid energy from spirit of what is happening right now. I'm not saying it's not real, right? It's very real if you make it real. Anything is real if you make it real. But the restrictions that you have on yourself, your path that is being blocked, because they're having me show number 4 right now, right? It's like oh, look at that. If you douse your own flame, if you put out your own flame, if you restrict yourself, if you believe because you're like, oh, you know, this and that. Let me tell you something. I had to let go of a lot of friends and family because they were so obsessed with this, what's happening on the planet. And I'm like, I can't have that in my energy field. I can't have the fear and the negativity in my energy field, right? Because I see and feel the omens too, and the messages every day. That's all I do. This is my job here on this planet right now. And I'm here to tell you that the hawk is your messenger. And they're saying, if you believe in it, if you give it energy, then it's real. If you don't, then it's not, right? And I know what you're going to say, right? Because I've been there too. Where I'm like, well, this is real, right? Like, this is real fabric, that's a real card, this is a real piece of jewelry, like, this is real, this is all real. Yes, but I mean, do you think it's an accident that the fucking Matrix, they're pulling me out here so you can follow the light, right? Follow the light. Do you think it's an accident that the Matrix is back? There are no fucking accidents. You're not crazy. The sad thing is the people in our lives who are holding us back, that tell us that we're crazy or make us feel crazy, quote unquote, nobody can make us do anything, but you know what I'm saying, right? That presumably we're crazy, or we're, you know, that can't be real, that can't be true. Well, they're the ones that are locked in a vacancy. They're the ones that are locked in a truth that is not real, that never has been real, that's been on this planet for thousands of years. But it's not fucking real. But whatever is real to you is real. I know, it's confusing. But if you read between the lines of what I'm communicating to you through this gibberish, you understand what Spirit's saying. So those are all the messages that I have for you. Card number 1, the hawk. So it's time to leave certain things behind so that we can move forward into the next year, the next energy, which is a 6. And 6s are all about, after the hardship, celebration, success, high vibrational energy. Okay, you guys, until next time. I love you so much. All of my information is in the description below. Blessed be. Aho. Bye. Welcome, card 2. Welcome to the what wasn't fun in 2021 and what do we need to leave behind. It's interesting, when I was turning to the page in your book, the very first page I opened to in the book was letting go. So even though I said we only had 1 card per pile, I'm not going to read that. I just wanted to say, or Spirit just wanted me to say that. So for some of you, letting go. We're going to see what all of this means. They're having me read the book first, and then we're going to channel after. Okay, so it says, do you have issues with faith? Do you have expectations of betrayal? Do you trust the mystery? Do you insist on mapping each tiny detail of your life, believing yourself to be the center of the universe? This marker reminds you that trust is required to move forward on your path. Belief and trust in a higher power is about having faith that the outcome will be what it should be. no matter what it is. It is timely for you to place your trust in the divine, in your angels, and in the knowledge that there is a divine plan for all. This marker also asks you to remember that humankind is imperfect, and even if you place your trust in another, there is potential for this trust to be broken. This means that you need to be discerning and not trust blindly. Be mindful of who and what you place your trust in. Is this person, thing, or situation worthy? In a relationship between you and the mystery, you and the god/goddess, and you and the divine living planet, there is a sacred relationship where trust is never broken. Only you can break it by forgetting who you are, a spirit in temporary human form. Remember who you are. Oh shit, you guys, I just got the chills. You know, one of my favorite things is be who you are. So remember who you are has become a new favorite because it's so true. It's like, you know, it's like, remember who you are. It's like I joke about the baby witch or all that. When I was going through all of my stuff with my shamans, I used to joke and say, my baby witch, and because she'd say, you've always been this way. You've always been this in every lifetime. You've always been this, whatever you are. You've always been this. It's just that you've lived different lifetimes as a human, you know, and in different time periods and things like that. So your trust issues are warranted. Also, isn't it interesting with this imagery? I'm going to see if I can get that a little bit brighter. Okay, let's see. Do you see in this imagery here? Like, I feel like this is you and this is spirit. And you know how to get there, but the path is just too rocky. You're like, it's just too rocky. It's just too rocky. I don't want to do it. You know, and they're like, okay, but you have to trust them, and you have to trust that they have your back, because 47 is also the number 11. And if you're called to the Hawk, I highly recommend you go to that medicine, because we just had a really awesome, actually, we spoke with the Hawk, and and the restriction came through. So even if you're card number 1, or excuse me, card number 4 you were drawn to, you may want to look at that as well. But the Hawk was also number 11. So, you know, the trust thing, I get it, you know, maybe spirit hasn't had your back before, but the thing is that they always have your back, because even rejection is spirit's protection. So it doesn't matter, you know, how many times we go up and down these paths, right? But I feel like for you guys, the restriction is coming in. Sorry, I have something in my eye, which is so bizarre, because it was like fine, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I haven't done anything or touched my eye or nothing. I actually have my glasses on, which is kind of bizarre. Hold on. Okay. Wow, that was really bizarre. I was sensing so much anger and rage. I feel for you guys. Like, the rocky path there it just speaks in volumes to me right now of how much you guys really, it's like this is how you're seeing the world. Is this rocky road. And spirit's like, let me enlighten that for you. They're like, but look it's not that bad. Look at all the parts of the path that you can actually walk on that are easy. You just have to walk slow, right? You just have to go slow around the rocks. And maybe you're somebody who's used to forging ahead on a clear path, right? Like, I'm getting a lot of control issues, right? That's why you're not trusting. It's because you don't trust that it's going to work out. And spirit's saying it is going to work out, though. You just don't think it's going to work out, but it is going to work out. You're just feeling this kind of like heavy energy of, because people fucked you over. Either they fucked you over, or I'm getting so many downloads. And also, what is going on with you guys? I'm feeling so much anger and resentment and rage. Like, I am feeling so much, you know, as an empath, sometimes it's a little overwhelming. So give me a minute. Let's breathe this out together. Let it go. Cry, punch a pillow, scream in your pillow, do something. Just fucking get it out, man. Get it out, because holding that in is not helping you. It's literally destroying you. And I'm getting this vibe from spirit that you guys are holding it in because you're like, yes, dear, or it's okay, honey, or it's okay, blah, blah, blah. But you know what that does? It breeds resentment. You don't even realize that it's happening until you know, all of a sudden you're like, when's it my turn? Like, when's it, you know, why am I always the one that's like taking care of everybody else? Why, you know, and they're saying, but you don't have to do that. It's because you don't trust that other people are going to do it. And you know what? We have to allow people room to fuck up. We have to allow room for people to disappoint us, because that's how we learn to love unconditionally. And let me tell you, from someone who has been through it and been through the ringer with many people in this situation, I didn't like who I was becoming, and I had to pull away from most of my family and friends. And I knew, speaking of number 47, that's kind of when I started to really see my family and my friends for who they were. And I was like, I love you, but I don't like you. Like, I don't like the way you talk about people, or I don't like the way you, and, or like I'd hear people, you know, gossiping about other people. And I was like, what the fuck do you say behind my back? You know? And so I started to realize, like, if with friends like this, like, who needs enemies, right? Like, keep your enemies, friends close and your enemies closer. I don't want to live like that. And if you are living like that, that could be why trust has become, you know, almost like a burden to you. But Spirit's saying, unburden yourself. Unburden yourself. And this is the let me get my, hold on, I took my glasses off when I was rubbing my eyes. Hold on. Okay. See at the top there, it says the sacred journey markers. And all of these cards are in different groups in the deck. And this one, why it's saying the sacred, like the last one for the hawk was, you know, the sacred, you know, or the animal guides of Avalon. But why trust is a journey marker is because it's a big deal. We watched something recently where this woman was so kind in the movie, and she just gave and 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 gave until finally she got screwed over. And then then she walked away, but then she came back, and the one that was a child actually, and the child said something to the effect of, can we do this? Can we do that? And she's like, yes, but I'm coming with you. And he's like, why? And she's like, because I can't trust you. And he's like, oh, what do you mean? He's like, you've always, you know, said that trust. And she goes, yes. And then you broke that trust. So she said, when you earn it back, then you may have it. But I gave you trust without anything, right? She didn't ask for anything. She goes, I gave you trust. You broke that trust. So now you have to earn it back. And this one, trust is something I know for myself. I've gone through this, like in all different forms. I've gone through this, and it has been one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. But at the same time, that's why it's number 47. It's 11, because even when you are feeling like you don't trust, give it to your angels, give it to your guides. Say, can you please help me? Can you please do this for me? We have free will here. They are not allowed to take it. Look at this. Look to the left. Number 11, right? In the background over here, right? In the hawk. There's nothing that the angels, spirit, no, they are not allowed to jump in. Some of them, yes, they have certain things in our soul contracts, right? Like, we're not supposed to die. So like in that moment or whatever, so somebody comes and pulls you back so you don't get hit by that bus. Sure. But when it comes to like our decision making and our everyday to day, you know, like, should I wear this outfit? Should I, you know, blah, blah, blah. Those are the things where that's our free will. So they're not going to take that from us. So now even I've gotten to the point where if I know I'm going like day hiking, or I'm going, you know, I live in a climate where it can be, you know, 50 degrees on the road, but if I go up into the mountains, it's like 25, right? So if I'm going to go hiking up into the mountains, I better be prepared. So sometimes I'll go through and I'll be like, do I need this? Do I need that? Which shoes would be better for this hike today? Or, you know, which boots or whatever, like that kind of thing. Yeah. But when it comes to your, like this kind of thing, the trust, that's on us, because we are loving light beings having a human experience, just like the card said. And we have to remember that. And we have to remember that the other people in our families, in our lives, in our posse are also human. And if they are not awake right now, if they don't understand what's happening, there's nothing you can do. And their path may be rocky, but why does yours have to be? Your path is only rocky. The thing I'm getting from Spirit is the only reason why your path is rocky is because you are allowing other people to dictate your path. Because you know what? This is your real path over here. And you're the only one that's restricting you from going down the very wide, smooth path. And it's going into darkness, right? Into nowhere. And maybe for some of you, you know, like the vibe I was getting from that card, I haven't read it yet, but the vibe I'm getting from that card is for people to go inward, right? To go into our caves, you know. But you need to do what you need to do, but you need to widen your path, right? By widening your community, by widening your thought process, by saying goodbye to this kind of path. And if somebody keeps breaking your trust over and over and over and over and over, it is only on you whether you want to accept them. When people change, which I know that change is possible because I change every day, every moment, we all do, but some of us get stuck. And when we get stuck, that's when we decide, okay, well, now I don't trust that person because they did that one thing, and now I'm never going to trust, you know, right? It's different for all of us. Somebody, maybe just one person did something really bad, or they made a really, really bad choice or a really bad decision they thought was going to be good for you, but it ended up fucking you up, right? And you're like, well, but you know what? You didn't help me. You made it worse. Well, you know what? How we respond to every situation is on us now. So moving forward, leave the negative part of trust behind in 2021, right? It's on you now. No more victim, no more, you know, because I'm also getting that too, right? Because you're like, well, this has to be done and that has to be done. They're like, yes, but again, you're doing that to yourself. So leave the control behind. Imagine how much more fun it will be. I'm speaking to me too, because this is a message for all of us. All of us have a form of control in one way or another. Just some of us are on a different, you know, some of us are at a level 1, some of us are at a level 100 when it comes to control. But what I have found is that I was raised, it's our environment too. I was raised around a lot of controlling people, and a lot of mirrors, and a lot of negative self-talk, and a lot of things that I started to realize that I didn't trust myself anymore because I was allowing so many people to influence and infiltrate my own thoughts about myself. So leave in 2021. It says here, what do we need to leave behind? Leave behind lack of trust, mostly in yourself. It's time for your intuition. You know, I asked if, I actually thought we were going to do something kind of cool, like what should we leave behind? What should we focus on in the future? And they were like, no, we will do the future reading. I don't know if you watched the prep, the introduction to this, the message for the collective. But I'm going to be putting out a new reading for 2022. What's in store for you in 2022? But for now, they're like, no, we need to, because that's the whole fucking problem, right? Is that we're like, oh, what about this? What about that? They're like, what about just this one thing? What about we just turn around and look at 2021? Whenever you watch this, it's timeless, right? But maybe there's something that you've brought into 2022. Maybe you're watching this years from now. I don't know what's going to happen. I could delete this channel tomorrow. Who knows what Spirit wants me to do? But you know what I'm saying? It's like, whatever that is, it's like they want you to just leave it there. Focus on, you know, turn around and look at 2021 and go, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for everything you gave me. Thank you for this lesson. Thank you for that lesson. Maybe it's many lessons. But the choice is yours on the path. You can take this one that's like smoother, you know. You don't have to be a martyr. You don't have to be a martyr and be like, oh, I'm going to take the hardest path. That's like, why? When you can take that path. And it's hard when we really realize that we are accountable for our own happiness. Absolutely, positively responsible and accountable for our own happiness. And we can't play the victim anymore, and we can't blame this, and we can't blame that or that person, whatever. And we finally see who we are. That's where the magic begins. So open yourself up. Trust. You know, it's kind of like that old saying, you know, you pray for the best and prepare for the worst. Hope for the best, pray for the worst. Whatever, however language you want to say it. Hope for the best, prepare for the worst. I don't know, whatever. But they don't want you to think like that anymore, because that's been your whole controlling thing. Is like, well, if I can get this, then I can make sure this happens. In some situations, yes. Like, we had a situation where our power went out for 2 days and it's winter. Like, that's not cool. We have to make sure that we have a propane heater. We can't rely on electricity. You know, we live in a tiny home and it's cold, and, you know, it's in the Pacific Northwest. Like, yeah, of course we have to prepare for certain things. When I look down, oh, it's 44, 43, but then I saw 44, 44 across the board. So whatever aligns with you. It may mean something. Don't dismiss the signs. Right? But there's one way to control and be prepared. But that's what they're saying, like, be prepared, not controlling, but being prepared. There's a difference. But when you're trying to control every outcome so that the world can be perfect, it's like, well, then you're just going to keep running into fucking roadblocks, because there's no such thing as perfect. It's a fallacy, you know? So I'm not going to blabber on. I'm going to move on to card number 3. You get the point. I love you so much. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of this tribe. Thank you for subscribing, liking, commenting, for donating to the tribe. All of my information is below in the description box, and I'll see you next time. I'll see you next year. Blessed be. Oh, bye. Welcome, card number 3. So far, you're the only card that literally was so laser focused like this. The other cards were like played around in the messages. So if you're pulled to any other piles, by all means, go check them out. But wow, 33, focus. Man, I am getting such a... I'm going to go to the book, because, you know, this is what wasn't fun in 2021 and what do we need to leave behind. And so I'm getting the vibe that you guys, like, focus was really difficult for you. My whole body is like tingling right now. I'm feeling such a sadness. I'm feeling like my throat chakra's blocked. I almost feel like 2021, you guys just got smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. Like, that's the imagery they're showing me. Like, that's how your energy felt. But it was almost like you're like those Russian dolls, you know, where like the nesting dolls, where they go inside each other. Look it up if you don't know what I'm talking about. But that's kind of how it feels. It's like you started 2021 like Peter Pan. You're like, ta-da! You're like, I'm going to take on the world. Like, yes, you know, everything's going to be good. And then slowly the world started opening up again, and you were feeling good, and you were feeling good, and you were feeling good, and you were feeling good. And then it was just like, bit by bit, piece by piece. Oh, that song by Kelly Clarkson. If you've never listened to this song, that's your homework. Kelly Clarkson's Piece by Piece. Oh, so interesting. My whole body got the chills again. I'm going to read this card because there's so much coming through for you guys. It says, it is time to draw your energies inward. Let go of all things that are superfluous and unnecessary at this time. Focus your attention on the job ahead. Do what is in front of you, no matter how small the task. Clear focus is required. Be mindful to stay in the present. Avoid looking back or too far forward, for it is only in staying in the true present, in the now, that the power residing in the sacred journey marker can be used for the benefit of all. Your path is marked with the need to regroup and remind yourself of your goal. Then stay in the present time and do what is directly in front of you. Only one small focused step at a time will place you at your destination. Yes, stop running 500 feet ahead. Stop, you know, in fact, I'm hearing for some of you, you're obsessing, watching, either you're doing cards for yourself or you're watching a lot of readings. You know, there's nothing wrong with them. I use them too. They're like therapy for me. I love them. But there's a lot of readings that I see that I want to do, but I get this vibe I'm not supposed to. Then I check in with my pendulum and I'll hear no, or I'll hear not at this time, you know. And that's the same thing for you guys. It's like, you know, this last year, I see this kind of like grasping at straws. I'm feeling this energy of like, kind of like that life raft mentality, you know, where like someone is on a life raft, but your life raft, you know, deflates. And so you're freaking out thinking you're going to drown. So you start like, you know, pulling down on their raft. And before you know it, it's like you're pulling them down with you. Well, you know, I kind of feel like this goes both ways. I feel like for some of you, you are allowing other people do that to you, which is why your focus has been off of you and it needs to go back onto you for 2022. Because I kind of feel like so far you're the first card that it's like, you know, exactly right. Like it's like part of you is in the past and part of you is in the future, but they're like they need you to stay right here. And the truth is, the 2022 is already here. No matter when you watch this, even if you watch this by the, I'm doing it in real time on, New Year's Eve, 2021, which is also a 12 year, which is a number, or 12 comes out to the number 12, right? 12 31 2021 comes out to the number 12, which is also the number 3. So those are big numbers for you. So even now it's like if you put it together, it's like 333, and then times 2 is 666, which is actually a positive number. It's not a satanic number. A lot of these 13 6, these quote unquote dark evil numbers, they're the opposite of that. They just don't want people to use their power. So research that as well if you're so inclined. But you guys, you have a lot of magic. You're very powerful, but I'm getting this vibe that many masks, many faces that you're wearing, some of these messages, if it doesn't apply to you, it's okay. Some of it's for you, some of it's not. The old adage, take what you need, leave behind what you don't. It's true, because these are mass readings on a mass scale. It's not a one-on-one reading. But it's for you to use your intuition, your inner spark, to know like when the message is for you. Sometimes I'll be listening to a reading like while I'm washing dishes or something, and it's like something will just bam, it's like I'm laser focused, I'm listening to what they're saying. And other things I'm like, yeah, that's not for me. You can feel when it's your medicine. There's only 4 cards, so it's like there's going to be different medicine for different people. But I'm getting that energy that 2021 is like, it's like you're like, oh, I just want it over, and you're already looking into 2022. But they're like, but they want you to be right now in this moment. Even if you're watching it in 2022 now, it's like turn around for a minute and look at 2021 and look at all of the lessons you learned, right? Because even when quote unquote bad shit happens to us, it's happening for us. It's a completely different energy exchange of dark, and we need the light and the dark to be able to balance and to be able to focus. Like I almost feel like they want to put this back in balance for you guys, and I feel like that's what you're losing is your balance. All of it, metaphorically, physically, you're losing your balance. And when we lose our balance and our focus, it's hard to remember like what the fuck we're doing here in the first place, right? So interestingly enough, I love that this path is, out of all the paths that are here, they had me put it here because this is you, right? Like this is you walking your path, right? But they don't want you to go backwards. They want you to just keep moving forward. You're like la 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 la, right? So you're like through the forest and through the woods, to grandmother's house we go, right? And then you're like, bam, into a new world. And see how the forest is dark now when the light's not there. You need to put the light where you want it to go. And the trees are there to remind you to stay focused on that path, right? Because there's shadows on this path. There are shadows in this path. Do you see that? Let me get in there. I know the lighting's not so great. But look at that. And look at the arrow pointing down. Whoa. And these all have, these oracle cards are in groups, right? And like the first one was the animal oracles of, Avalon. The last one was a sacred marker journey. Well, this one is a sacred journey. This is also a sacred journey marker. See? And that's exactly what it is. It's like your journey, hold on. It's like you don't even want to see it up close. Your journey is sacred. This mission is sacred. You have a purpose here. You did not come here to play small. And, it's like for some of you, I feel like you're getting too wrapped up in what you're going to lose instead of what you're going to gain. Because see how on either side, when you're on this path, Spirit's like, we got your back. They got your back. They're all around you, guiding the way. We have to release our focus off of something that's not serving us and put our focus on the thing that is our purpose. And the fact that, I didn't even notice this. The last one, Trust, had a different imagery, but this one with the arrow, I'm also feeling some of you may be Sagittarius because I'm, of that energy. It's interesting because on the Trust one, it reminded me of a mushroom. So, the fact that it's like, it's also like, going straight for the obvious, right? Like for the bullseye. If you look at it like that, it's like, it looks like, right, like a dartboard or a Oh, funny. It's funny that I said dartboard, so maybe that means something to you guys. Maybe you want to be a dartboard tournament champion. They're like, then do it. Like, why not? Focus your energy on that. Get a thing and practice at home. But it's like that, right? But also, this is a bow and arrow. So it's, it's about, you want to hit the center, right? Like you want to go for the gusto. So they're saying, don't allow other people to steer your focus away from you, because this is your journey. This is your journey marker, is the focus. So I love when it said only one small focus step at a time will place you at your destination. When I looked down, it was 54:45, which is 9 and 9, but even that comes out to the number 9. So that also, and 3 and 3 is 9. So that tells me that you guys are really, really close. You're so close to your goal. And in 2022, this is the first time they've been giving me like a little prediction, but I kind of felt like this with you guys, even though they're saying like, don't look behind and don't look too far in the future. At the same time, they're saying it's okay to look there. You're just not meant to dwell there and live there. It's okay to set intentions, right? We have a new moon coming up, and I'm going to be doing a reading for, what's new for you in 2022. Or what's in store for you, something like that. So it's like they're trying to show you, though, that like you're someone that is in the middle. Like I feel like you'd be the fool in the tarot deck, right? Like you're really talented. You have a lot of gifts, and you can go in between all different worlds all the time. But I'm also seeing someone who's like this, right? Where it's like if you're a person and your legs are like this, it's like you're like that, or like, you know what I mean? Where it's like you're in limbo between both worlds. It's almost like this path is like one side is like one world and one is the other, and you're always walking down the middle of the path. And they're saying it's okay for you to divert away from the path. It's okay for you to focus on what makes you happy. You're not here to be anybody's bitch. Like what do you want to do? What did you want to do when you were 8 years old? That's one of my favorite things that Spirit ever gave me, and to give to the collective, right? It's like, what did you want to be when you were 8 years old? Because that's who you are. There's some part of you, I don't know if it's like all of you, right? Or if it's a way for you to make money, or if it's just a passion, but there's something inside of you to spark this light back in front of you, to give you that focus again, right? To put the fire under your ass and get you, going on that path again. You need to focus. Meditation. I cannot express that enough for you guys. I'm hearing from Spirit. If you don't meditate, it's time. If you do meditate, you need to meditate more. So, sometimes even 15 minutes in the morning, right when you wake up, and 15 minutes before you go to sleep is good. Sometimes having a little meditation midday is really great, especially if you have a stressful job, or you drive in stressful traffic, or you have to commute through cities or anything like that. I know from personal experience, like that can really take a toll on you. So it's because of your lack of focus on yourself in 2021. That's why it wasn't fun, because you're putting your focus in so many different areas and trying to accomplish and achieve too many different things at once. And Spirit's like, you got too many irons in the fire. It's time to cut back at least in half, if not down to a quarter. And how can you do that? So take some time to look back on 2021, reflect and focus, and look at each thing. And rise above it like the hawk, like as a bird medicine, like flying up into the air, and don't take anything personally when you're looking at things that happened, or, whatever. Maybe you wanted something to happen and it didn't happen, and you focused too much on that energy, but you were dispelling other energy that was trying to come towards you because you were so focused on this other thing. Sometimes we have to let go of it. If it's not working, there's a reason why. There's always a reason why. And it doesn't mean that it's not ever going to work. It just means maybe you need to lay the groundwork or the foundation somewhere else and put your focus somewhere else first before you can get there, right? It's like the point A to point B thing. It's like you can't go from point A to Z. You have to hit B, C, D, all the way in between. You can't just jump over, because when we just jump over things or smooth over things, or like maybe you have been in a relationship, or whether it's work, family, whatever, significant other, even an animal, but it's like if you're with that person and you're trying so hard to please them, it's like you're here, right? It's like you're here in this, and then you're like trying to like come over here. It's like you're trying to jump across this instead of just walking across it. Maybe you can jump across it. Maybe you'll land perfectly. You won't hurt yourself, but maybe you won't. Maybe you're going to really, really, fuck up your ankles, right? And then you hurt yourself. You knock your fire out, and then you're laid up. And then you're miserable because you're like, no, I'm laid up for fucking 6 months because I was going too fast and I wasn't focused and I wasn't centered. I wasn't grounded. And I also feel like for a lot of you, that path going into the forest means something. It's time to get out into nature. All right, you guys, thank you so much for being here. I love you so much. All of my information is in the description box below, and I'll see you next time at our next reading. Blessed be. Oh, bye. Welcome card number 4. Man, I've never been this excited that I can remember in a reading before because you came up so much in the other piles. So if you were called to any of the other piles, I highly recommend you go and check them out. But I was excited to come here because we used so much of the imagery and analogies and numerology from this card. And so if you chose number 4, it says, what wasn't fun for me in 2021? Restriction. And what do I need to leave behind? So in the book it says, this marker brings notice of restriction in all things. You're in a prison of your own making, or at the mercy of that which is temporarily out of reach. You aren't able to move forward constructively at this time. Be patient. Pay attention to the next right action, and sooner than you know, the prison doors will swing wide open and you will yet again proceed to the greater goal. For now, take this opportunity to rest, taking stock of where you are and from where you've come. Ask, how did I get here? What am I not seeing? And what needs repairing? Once answers come, so does relief from the bondage of circumstances and mind. That's really beautiful. I want to see if this is going to come in here because I feel like we need to, for some of you, like maybe it's like a workshop, kind of thing. So let me get in here and I'll tell you when you can. I just don't want to knock this over. Hold on. Let me do this. Okay. Sorry, guys. I guess I could have done it better that way. So if you want to take a screenshot, go ahead. How did I get here? What am I not seeing? What needs repairing? Ugh. You get the gist. Okay. So, yeah. So what was no fun for you was restriction. You were very restricted. I feel like the light wants to come back in. It's interesting because when we first started, they specifically had me put it here, almost as if they didn't want you to see to see the path illuminated. And now I feel like they're having me put this here, and they're even having me put that kind of like exposed lighting on there so you can see that the path will be clear for you. Oh, you guys, when I looked down, it was it's like an hour and 2 minutes, but when I looked down, it was 2:22. So that's so crazy because I literally was just about to say that these restrictions will be lifted for you, and you can sigh a big breath of relief that 2022 is they just said it's your year if you step out of your own path, like out of your own way, of your own restrictions against yourself, because this is card number 35, which is the number 8, and 8's about infinity, but it also has the number 5 above it, and 5s are, about chaos and transformation and change, restriction, being stuck. You're like in the middle of 1 and 10, right? You're like right in the middle, like you're stuck there. You're like, why can't I move forward? What's happening? But Spirit's showing you that it's what's going to happen. This is what I kind of feel for you guys right now. What I feel for this pile or this card is this darkness that's over here at the end. For some of you, it's time for you to go into shadow. So whether you're in the northern hemisphere, southern hemisphere, even if it's summer, it's like, I always feel like summer and winter are kind of like, that's why they're perfect kind of hibernation, right? Because spring and fall, we're doing all the work. We're planting, we're harvesting. But in summer, we're letting loose. We're kind of just taking a few more sighs of relief, you know, laying in the sun a little bit longer, feeling the warmth in our skin. In winter, we go inward. We put on our cozies and our jammies and we get cozied up and we read a good book or watch a movie or take a nap, you know. This is the time for you. I wasn't doing full predictions for 2022 because I am going to be putting that out next year in 2022. Look out for that. That'll be coming around the bend soon. But this is our last reading of 2021. Like, this is it. Like, now the restrictions are going to be off of you. But that doesn't mean that it's over. That doesn't mean that the work is over. That's the kind of the vibe I'm getting from Spirit. It doesn't mean that the work is over. For some of you, the work has only just begun. And maybe in 2021, you were trying to do everything right, or you were putting restrictions on yourself when Spirit's kind of saying, well, if you keep running into roadblocks, you know, stubbing your toe, fender bender, whatever it is, if something like that keeps happening, it's because they're trying to tell you that they're restricting you, right? We spoke about this earlier. It's like Spirit's rejection is your protection. So sometimes we do have restrictions put on us because we're very powerful light beings and we don't have a concept of time. So we're just like, oh, okay, that's the solution to that problem. Let's move forward. And Spirit's like, yeah, but it's not always that cut and dry. It's not always that cut and dry because we are in human form and human time. And even though that we are living in the 5D energy and understanding that we are awake and all that stuff, we still have this pressure and this pull from the 3D energy trying to scare us, trying to manipulate us, trying to, tell us that we have these restrictions, right? You have to put this on your face. You have to lock yourself behind doors. You know what I mean? Like all this control. Today, my husband said the cutest thing. He's like, you know what? Well, not cute, but sad cute. But he goes, what makes me upset about this is he goes, people don't know what to fucking do with themselves. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm like, it reminds me of the scene in Steel Magnolias where Dolly Parton is talking about how Daryl Hannah's character has gone super religious. And she's like, yeah, she's like, I feel so sorry for her boyfriend. She's like, because he doesn't know whether to wind his butt or, wipe his watch or something like that, right? Like, meaning like he's up is down, down is up. Like he doesn't know like what the fuck to do, like everything. So, when we don't know what to do, we do nothing. So don't get ahead of yourself, just because it's like, it's not a light switch. It's not like, oh, it's 2021, now it's 2022. Yay, everything's going to be perfect. Sorry to yell, but right? No, because it takes a few minutes for us to decompress. It takes a few minutes for us to kind of like turn around, look at the last year. I feel like January is such a beautiful, month for us to like reflect on like what the last year has given us, what it has provided us with. Because even like the quote unquote bad stuff, the dark stuff, it was there for a purpose. It was there to teach us. So the only restrictions, that we have are on ourselves, right? How did I get here? Like, where was I a year ago right now? And how did I get here now? What has transpired over this year? And what can I do, And actually, Spirit, I wanted to do like this and then like, but what to look forward to. And they were really adamant about us, no, just focusing on this, right? Don't get ahead of yourself. Just focus on 2021 right now, looking back on it and saying, how did I get here? What am I not seeing? What needs repairing, right? What needs to change? That's what that number 5 is above the restriction, the Roman numeral. What needs to change? I thought I was going to go into some big thing, but the truth is all the other piles kind of said it. So let me see if there's any other channeled messages Spirit wants me to say. Yeah, that, onward and upward. And for some of you, it's hibernation period, baby. Meditation, meditation, meditation. Can't say that enough. All right, you guys, until next time, all of my information is below in the description box, and I'll see you next year. Happy New Year. Blessed be. Oh,